There's a green light that's on all the time, indicating that the signal to noise ratio is acceptable for satellite communication. If it turns yellow or red, then that means there's too high of a noise level. That's on constantly, and that's something that I think I can eliminate by reprogramming the Feather microcontroller. The flashing green light that just flashes for 100 milliseconds every 5 seconds is actually on the Swarm modem tile, and I don't have access to the firmware for that, but at least it's intermittent. So that's my next project, is to modify the microcontroller program and get rid of the constant green light. Well, I've reprogrammed the Eval kit microcontroller, the moisture sensing software program, so that the idea is that it will turn off the signal level LED after having been on for 5 minutes. 5 minutes being enough time to move the Eval kit around to try to improve the noise level reading by moving it to where the LED is on green rather than red or yellow or some other color. Right now I just turned it on, and you can see the red flashing light indicates that it's trying to get a GPS fix, and that has to happen before it can time 5 minutes to know when to turn off the noise level LED. It doesn't have a real-time clock associated with the microcontroller. It needs to get time from the GPS receiver, and so it needs a GPS fix in order to do that. So once it gets a GPS fix, then which it just got, since the red flashing light stopped, then the LED indicating the noise level will go off. And right now that's at a sort of a, it's hard to tell with the camera here, but it's at a sort of a yellowish level. It's not completely green. It's not red, which indicates way too much noise. It's some value in between, which is probably going to be okay for satellite communication. I would probably, where I actually first setting this up, I would probably move it around until it turned green, but it's actually a yellow color that's approaching green, though it doesn't show up in the video camera. Okay, so we'll come back after 5 minutes. It'll be on for 5 minutes, and then check and verify that it's been turned off by the modified microcontroller program. And here we're going to tilt this thing up so we can get a better view of that noise level LED and see that it actually is green now. Just to show that I don't need to move the thing around to get good satellite receiving conditions. Well, I've turned off the porch light out here just so that we can see that the only LED light that we have now is the flashing green heartbeat that flashes every 5 seconds briefly. The LED that was showing the noise level is off after the 5 minute period that would allow you to adjust the position of the Eval kit so that you were in a low noise environment for satellite reception. So far so good. We'll just have to wait and make sure that the changes I made don't affect the success of the program in measuring moisture level and uploading it to satellites. So we'll check in the morning and make sure. I turned this thing on roughly at 7 p.m. and so an hour after that, at 8 p.m., it should take a soil moisture measurement, and then at the next opportunity upload that to a satellite, and then it should show up in the server, the swarm hive. So we'll check that in the morning and make sure that none of the software changes have affected the satellite communication performance. So far, so good. Well, last night we, at about 7 p.m., we turned on the Eval kit, swarm Eval kit, and saw that after around 5 minutes, the noise level LED went out, and Eval kit continued to operate. Now we're going to check and see if we actually got any data transmitted up to the satellites and then downloaded to the swarm server, the beehive. And we'll turn on the Python program here that scrapes messages from the hive, and make it a little bit bigger to look at it. Come down here and look at times. So the timestamps down here on the horizontal axis are month, day, and then hour in Greenwich Mean Time. So 7 p.m., that's 1900, and add 5, that's a 5-hour difference between us and Greenwich Mean Time, and that gives you 2400 or 0000. And so anything on the 19th here is a transmission that data that was transmitted after we turned the unit back on after reprogramming it. And so we've got values here on the 19th. So 0126, that would be 8:26 p.m. And then we have 0226 and 0326 and so on every hour. So we're definitely getting data transmitted by the Eval kit, which is good. It means that the project basically is working. Kind of an interesting thing here happened previous night. You can see that the temperature reading, the red dots, suddenly took off and went up clear off the scale above 100 degrees on the temperature scale. Of course, the device that's measuring the temperature is not accurate. It's simply a internal sensor, temperature sensor, in the tiny little microprocessor in the probe that I have stuck in the dirt. And of course, it's been sprayed with polyurethane to cover it and protect the microcontroller, and then covered with coax putty. So we can't really expect it to, even if it were an accurate device in itself, to be giving us an accurate reading. But that's quite anomalous, this jump up in temperature. And then it came back down again to a reasonable level the next morning. So just to get an idea of what the temperature reading actually was, I went to the hive and took a look at the raw message that of one of the pieces of data that was in that gap where there's a sudden increase in temperature. And here we can see the temperature reported was 16,383 approximately degrees Celsius. So yeah, that's pretty warm. That's well, I guess somewhere around 5,500 Celsius is the surface of the sun. If you can talk about the sun's surface, but they do, so I don't feel too strange doing that. But of course, you're not going to be walking around on that gas ball, but not to mention it being incinerated. But anyway, that is an anomalous reading, and so I tried to find out more about the internal sensor in that little microcontroller. I managed to find a schematic for the probe and get the number of the microcontroller chip and look it up, a data sheet. Couldn't find anything though about the internal temperature sensor, so I've got more research to do there. But anyway, we've got a successful result here. We've got data being transmitted after my modifications to the program, and so this phase of the project is complete.